You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
What's up, guys? I'm Cassie, and today's video we will be talking specifically about celebrities and this obsession with celebrities and where this can go wrong. Alright guys, let's get to it. I don't want to sound so depressing that role models have failed us all. It's just the reality of it. I think I'm going to give more context and this will all make sense. So our minds usually go to movies or stories that we hear about when the good guy goes bad, or it's the superhero who later becomes the villain.
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
It tore me apart, but I learned an important lesson. You can't count on anyone.
And I'm sure many of you have heard that quote, you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Society, today's culture and climate, what do you think that would be much more reflective in? Personally, I think celebrity culture. And I get it, guys, we all have role models. It doesn't necessarily need to be celebrities. We have teachers, parents, family members who become role models for us. But for today's video, I specifically want to focus on celebrities and celebrity culture, especially considering the downfall of many celebrities and just things that are coming to light. And lately that's just been one after another, and we're seeing that all over the media. And this is a whole separate topic. I mean, we've seen it all over the media, everything from the Diddy scandals to Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. We're reminded once again that celebrities are humans just like us, and they do good things and they do bad things. It's so easy to instantly become a fan of someone. You know, I could maybe watch a movie I really liked and I loved the lead actress or a musician. I just loved her songs. And it's so easy to equate the music or the art form or whatever it is, the action, to the human being. It's like this song equals this person. Good song, good person. And that's really not the best way to look at things. There's nothing wrong with admiring someone for something they've done or created, but to equate that with them, especially if you don't even know who they are, I think it could be a little bit dangerous. I mean, I'm guilty of doing this. In the past, I would become such a big fan of someone and just assume that they were automatically this incredible person because they made this incredible art form or something. You know, logically speaking, saying that out loud doesn't make sense. Like, for example, why would somebody's music, good music, equate to them being a good person overall? I think it could infer, maybe it could maybe give hints, especially if maybe the lyrics of songs say something beautiful, then that could infer this goodness to this person. But it wouldn't be sufficient evidence to just equate that and then to be in love with the person as much as we're in love with the song, if that makes sense. And honestly, this happens a lot too, and not to bring a whole other conversation in here, but this happens a lot too when you're dating. Sometimes you're infatuated with the person and you may like things about them, and then there's this thing that they do that maybe you really love, and because they do it, all of a sudden you think you really love this person, but you just met the person, but you just like everything about them or the things that they're telling you on the surface. Sometimes that infatuation will blind us and we don't really see this person for who they really are. And oftentimes that blindness will eventually be revealed someday or another. And it sucks because, especially if it's someone you're dating, to find out later, it could be very painful. But let's be honest, we all, as human beings, all fall short sometimes. And because we're human and we all fall short, we also shouldn't fall into the error of putting other people on pedestals. Very hard to get to know someone to the point where you know their motivations and intentions. That requires a very intimate type of relationship. Some people might say that celebrities are basically like the modern day superhero, that they can do no harm. I feel like many fans or just super fans are just borderline worshiping or idolizing certain celebrities, and they truly have blinded themselves to even the possibility that the celebrity could do bad things. And again, I want to emphasize the difference between just a fan, someone who's admiring, and a super fan, someone who's obsessed. For example, I made a video praising Eva Mendes and Ryan Gosling and the way they've maneuvered through Hollywood, they've protected their relationship, their family, and their marriage. I gave praise to that. Now, that's not to say that I know everything that's going on in the relationship. There might be things that we don't see, you know, because I don't know her and we're only seeing what's written about her or her interviews. I know that Eva Mendes and Ryan Gosling have flaws, and I know that they're not perfect. And that video was never meant to make them or to portray them as this perfect relationship, this perfect couple. I'm sure that they have their issues, just like every couple, right? Every human couple, at least, if we're being honest. But I think it's okay to praise certain aspects. I was specifically in that video praising the aspect of how they've been, at least so far, have managed to protect their relationship and their marriage, and that's, I think, objectively true. You can just see it. So I felt that that was a fair assessment to make. But again, not to say that their relationship itself is perfect. There was something, this aspect about their relationship that I admired. So I think totally different things. I think, like I said, there's nothing wrong. There's musicians that I love their songs. I love their music. I think the music itself, I'm praising that creativity. I'm praising the product of that creativity. But that's not to say that I would praise this person as a perfect human being. And that's also not to say that they're a bad human being either, right? I can't make that assessment. I can't make that judgment. I'm not God. But I think there's an importance to discernment and to discern the good and the bad, and to also be self-conscious of when you're being blinded by some type of infatuation, the same way you'd be infatuated with someone while dating. I'll take this of them, I admire this about them. I don't admire this about them. I think this was good that they did, and I think this is something that they probably, hopefully should change, and I wouldn't recommend anyone else do that. I see oftentimes that super fans will just completely blind themselves to all the negativity, not throw discernment out the window, and everything about them is good. And anyone who says otherwise is wrong, needs to be canceled, and let's bully them. They are absolutely wrong. There's no way this person could do any wrong. And they'll come out to defend the celebrity, not even considering possibility that maybe the celebrity is not as perfect as they thought they were. This all very much requires a lot of critical thinking and a lot of being in reality and understanding that right is right, wrong is wrong. And again, it's not to say that the person is this terrible human. It's just we have to use our human minds and stop ourselves from idolizing and worshiping celebrities. Now you might be asking why? Why would it even matter? Okay, so what? Let's just say you do worship, or you really cannot fathom that your favorite celebrity could do anything wrong, and so far nothing's come up that they've done anything wrong. Why? Well, there's a couple different reasons. From a faithful perspective, I think it's actually very detrimental to our lives and our souls to idolize anyone other than God. Also, you're bound to be disappointed. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll never find out that they had these flaws. Like, a lot of people are really good about hiding their skeletons in their closet, and maybe the skeletons will never be revealed to you. But that doesn't mean that the skeletons don't exist. That doesn't mean that those bad things don't exist. You just didn't know about it. You can live in this fantasy world where your favorite celebrity has no skeletons in their closets. You can convince yourself of that. But again, that's fantasy land. That's just not the case. Okay? Everyone has flaws. Everyone has mistakes. And I think it's just better to know the truth, right? I mean, why blind yourself and why hide yourself from the truth? You are bound to be disappointed by any human being because humans have both good and bad qualities. We mess up, we make mistakes, and our mistakes don't define us by any means, but at the same time, we should acknowledge that. And I think there's power to that. We can't just make a judgment on anyone that they're perfect and that they can do no wrong, nor can we say that they're horrible and they could never be redeemed. See, those are opposite ends of the same coin. I believe that people, all of us, can make mistakes and that we can be redeemed and learn and try to do better. Well, we may fall in the attempt to do that, but we keep getting up. What really concerns me and what I really want to focus on is the idolization of celebrities to the point where they're seen as a god. I feel like that's what really concerns me. And it's becoming more and more normalized. Like, goddess, she's a goddess and a god. And I know it could be hyperbole, but sometimes when we repeat something over and over again and it just becomes normalized, we start to believe it. And also there's like another side to this. The more and more we treat these celebrities as though they were gods, the constant praise, the constant adoration. I notice that some celebrities, they almost start to believe it and act like it. Some, not all, but some celebrities start to believe that they're like untouchable and that they lose their humility. They lose that spark that they once had that made people fall in love with them in the first place. And suddenly their world becomes smaller and it revolves around them. And they forget that they're a part of this world, not that they are the center of the world. And these super obsessed fans, they just keep feeding this vanity and this self-aggrandizing behavior. And then sometimes eventually we see it get out of control until finally everything comes to light. But yet many of us stay blinded by this false idea of them and our infatuation of them. But it's really an infatuation of the idea of them, not them themselves, because they aren't that idea. No one can actually reach those standards except for God, but we're in love with the idea of them, not really them. It's what we think they are, which they aren't. And like all things that I discuss, it always comes back to faith and morality. And I highly recommend C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity on a deeper dive into morality. But anyways, Jesus has warned us about idolizing other things and other people. He's warned us about this. At the end of the day, all of it will fail us. Every human will fail us. Everything will fail us if we put our faith in it. And not because they're good or bad in itself or in himself, in herself, but because they're human. And because celebrities are human, they too will fail us. It's only God himself who we can confidently worship and idolize and see as perfect, because he is perfect. I want to be gracious to them too. I as much as there's a lot of good things, and I don't want to sound like super negative. Also, I understand that there's also a bigger sense of responsibility, and yeah, I agree. They do have a bigger responsibility. I mean, let's be real. Celebrities have much more influence over a larger group of people, and they are more powerful than other people, and therefore they have more of a responsibility. So what a relief it can be to just know that, for celebrities to know that, to humble themselves, and for us as the fans to also know that, to not put them on this pedestal. And I, by no means, obviously, I'm not a celebrity, but I mean, I could see myself as a role model to my younger cousins, just younger siblings, and I have no problem with them looking to me for advice or guidance, or even just their admiration for something maybe I do, like for my cooking skills or my love for animals or something, or just the way I do stuff. I think it's very honorable, and I'm just flattered that they would admire this thing about me. However, I find it also justifiably righteous to also remind them that I'm only human and I'm not perfect, okay? Please do not look to me for perfection. Do not look to me for being the best example for everything in your book. Okay, I'm going to mess up. I'm totally fine and honored to be someone you look up to, but please don't, it's a sense of pressure too, right? When somebody looks to you as being the ultimate example. I am not your ultimate example, okay? I mess up too, and I'm still learning. The reason why I'd want them to know this, and the reason why I'd want to remind them about this, is that I don't want them to see these mess ups that I do as okay because I did it. If they're influenced enough, they might think that mess up's okay because I did it. But that's not the case. I'd rather them learn from my mess up and not do that, right? So, and bringing this back to my faith, when it comes to judgment, people will often mistranslate or misunderstand a quote from Jesus when he says, "Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven." Jesus is saying we should take a generous, forgiving attitude with others so that God will take a generous, forgiving attitude with us, right? We should treat others as we want to be treated. So it's not to say we just accept everything as good and okay. There is righteous judgment, and we have a duty to correct it when we see it, with love and compassion, of course, but to correct it nonetheless. Yes, Jesus did sit and eat with the tax collectors and the prostitutes and sinners, which we all are. But he didn't say your actions are okay. They're sinful, but they're okay. Just keep on doing you, keep on doing it, and, come on and sit with me. It was more of a invitation to follow him, to turn away from your old life, your old way of sinful nature, of your old habits, bad habits, and to come be with him. And despite your past, despite the mistakes you've made, you can still be forgiven and you can still have a future with God. It was more of a, when I see you, I don't see your sin. You are still lovable. I still love you. And because I love you, I want you to sit with me and to come with me because I love you, right? To change, to turn your back on your old way of life. It's sinning or bad habits, turn away from that and come to me. That's more of how it should be read. No matter how bad or how sinful your past is, it doesn't mean that you're not worthy of love or that you're not worthy of God's love or forgiveness. But that's the thing. We have to make, out of our own free will, that choice to turn away from it. Now I know that's for a whole other video, okay? So I don't want to get too off on the tangent. That's more related to the whole judgment situation, because oftentimes people misinterpret or they misunderstand judging. There is righteous judgment, and we do have a duty to do that, but in a loving and nurturing way, right? Not in a to beat someone down or to kick somebody when they're down. So anyways, that's for another video. So to conclude, I just want to remind everyone with this video basically to be both prudent and gracious with others, including celebrities, right? Celebrities will mess up. Also, don't go so far as to just like, they're the horrible human being and everything. Like, they're going to make mistakes too, right? Let's be gracious. Let's pray for them. Let's root for them. Let's hope that they can get better. Hope you liked that video. If you did, give it a like and comment below. Oh, also comment some ideas if any topics you'd like to see me cover in the future. And don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this. And I will hopefully see you guys next time. Bye.